So let's welcome them to the stage. Please, let's clap. And I'm honored to give the word to Ashli, please, who's going to introduce all our guests and be ahead of this amazing conversation today. Thank you so much.
Hi, everyone. It sounds like this is on. We are so excited to be kicking off the fashion track here at NFT.NYC. We have a panel chock full of expertise, and we're here to talk about one of the biggest trends, fashion's embrace of non-fungible tokens. Each one of our panelists is going to be bringing a very insightful perspective, and each one has a very unique background. We have Nelly, Vice President of Digital Innovation, Head of Crypto and Metaverse at Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy. She's a skilled facilitator, having consulted multiple Fortune 500 companies, startups, and nonprofits in a variety of industries across 3 continents. Nico, Fara. She's the founder and CEO of Chief Metaverse Officer and the Fashion DAO. She's a New York-based Web3 strategist, executive consultant, engineer, and serial entrepreneur with deep expertise in retail and tech industries and specialties with Metaverse. Marco Marchesi, Chief Technology Officer at The Fabricant. He's passionate about working with emerging technologies and has contributed to several notable scientific research campaigns and products. Jessica Greenwalt, Creative Director at Vayner NFT. She's a serial entrepreneur, multiple award-winning graphic designer, user experience researcher, Web3 developer, NFT strategist, product designer, and artist. Natalie Johnson. She's the founder and CEO of Nueno. She has over 20 years experience in the apparel industry and is an expert at translating brand ideas from 2D concepts to hyper-realistic 3D renditions. And myself, I'm the founder of Weiss Law LLP. I work primarily with clients in the Web3 space. Prior to my firm, I worked with Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy at Benefit Cosmetics and Louis Vuitton. I also worked with Tory Burch, Western Digital. And I was quoted in The Guardian and NBC News on NFTs. So, yes, let's give it up for these amazing panelists. So let's get started too. Jessica, I'd love to have you kick us off today. Can you tell us how fashion brands can appeal to the NFT community?
Testing. All right, cool. I actually think it's a little bit too much of a focus for a lot of brands. Most brands don't need to bow down to the Web3 or NFT communities. It's a very small market. And I feel like I see a lot of brands kind of bending over backwards to try to be a Web3 company instead of just connecting their existing massive fan base to the things that people love and appreciate them for already. Like, I don't go shop at Coach because I want a great video game or epic metaverse experience. That's not what I'm looking at them for. I'm looking at them because I want their shoes and their bags. So when they put together a NFT program, I'm expecting that to be a loyalty program on steroids, where if I buy into one of their projects, that's me communicating to them that I am a super fan. Like, I will go out of my way to pimp their products and talk about them. And they should be rewarding the people who are that excited about them for what they do. I would expect that program to actually connect me with early access to the products that they put out, some limited edition products. I'd want to be able to get in there early, not have to wait in line, exclusive shopping events, maybe even custom products. Those are the sort of fashion NFT projects that make me most excited. are the ones that help get the super fans involved in the actual design process or get some sort of behind the scenes hand-holding experience with the brand to bring you even closer together with them and help you help them spread the word about how awesome they are. I don't think it needs to be so Web3 focused. I'm actually hoping we get to a point where we don't even have to say like, oh, it's an NFT program. It's just a loyalty program that happens to use the technology that we're talking about today.
So if anyone has anything to add, please do. But as a follow-up question, and I want to open this up, how do you know if your brand is going to work well with Web3 or an NFT approach?
May I jump in?
Yeah.
So I think it's very important when we talk about fashion and NFTs, we think about the whys of why we're doing this as a brand and communicating that why to our audience and our team members. So what Jessica said is great. Loyalty is one of the biggest advantages, and then like new revenue streams that NFTs can bring to brands. In addition to that, we can focus so much into other benefits of digital fashion and NFTs in general, like how they can help with sustainability. We know digital fashion, like what Fabricant is focused on, they can produce 97% less carbon emissions. So thinking on what are the challenges in the fashion industry that now NFTs can be a solution for. The other aspect is like supply chain transparency. We all know so many challenges in the fashion industry is around that. So now we can use blockchain to provide more transparency. And the other part is about versatility. With digital fashion, you absolutely have no limitation. Your imagination is the only limitation. So creating those beautiful designs that we see in Fabricant and so many other digital fashion brands, I think it's a huge advantage for the users and creators that now have a lot more options. So I think these are all amazing aspects of NFTs that we need to also communicate with our audience. Then we can actually like educate and onboard even broader audience than just NFT community.
I agree with what Nico said, so I think it's really important to ask the why, but then also the who. I think it's very tempting for brands to try and build a global strategy, be very holistic and move fast, because brands were already burned by social media and being behind on social media and e-commerce. And so now there's this pressure to actually move really quickly. But I think because we're in early days of NFTs, brands can actually be more strategic. So looking at who their customer is and being realistic about who the current Web3 consumer is and finding an overlap. So it can be a project that launches in one particular region, for example, the US, because that's where we have most of the consumers, or picking a product that you know aligns with the current community. And I'm thinking, for example, with LVMH, we have watches, right? So the watches community actually overlaps really well with, people who want to collect NFTs, who are tech savvy. And so it's no surprise that a lot of our brands that have maybe jewelry and watches start with watches first, because you have that initial affinity, and then you can wait for more and more adoption and broader customer base, and then open up your program to other consumers.
It's so exciting to see what's going on. Marco, yes?
A challenge that I see is like the fact that not all the brands are ready to talk about communities. Sometimes many of them that I saw, I still like to think about customers in the traditional way, in the Web 2. And I think it's still a challenge to really convince that there is a shift, there is a new paradigm about how you relate with your people. So they are not customers anymore, but it's a community. It means a more open conversation about the product and what you want to create together. And this is kind of the thing that I see still as a challenge, something that it needs to be defined and improved.
Natalie, I know you have a lot to add here too. So we're talking already about what you're doing in the Web3 space if you've already got a brand and it's in that area. But what if you're a brand and you're trying to get into Web3? Do you have any tips or advice?
Yeah, look, we've been talking to brands for the last 2 years, and the change in conversation has now come from how do we attract that initial crypto enthusiast, that NFT buyer. As you said, you're talking with specific products. Let's talk to that niche that get it. But long term, how do we get that average consumer, the one that we're already talking to, the one that's already our fan, and how do we get them into this space? Because that's when we're going to see mainstream adoption and mass sort of adoption of this. And I think for brands, ask your why. So I had one brand come to us and go, we want to open a Discord. And I was like, why? Why? Do you have people around the globe to manage this? Do you have information to drop daily to this audience? No. And it's like they think, you've just got to do this tick box. It's not that case. Like, let's step back. Let's not rush from here to here. Let's just think this through. I don't think there needs to be this urgency. Let's be a bit more strategic.
We had a little bit of conversation about merging the physical and the digital kind of as a, I guess, Web 2.5. Nelly, I'd really love to hear some more about that.
Yeah, I have very strong opinions about this just because of the heritage of all of the brands that I work with that really take care about the craftsmanship of what they're doing. And so I think, we see NFTs as an extension of this incredible product that has, brought our clients to the brands in the first place. So if we assume that, Web3 is really the future, it just makes sense that every physical product will have a digital companion that you can use in the metaverse, in the virtual space, but still, again, tying it to what the physical product has to do. So then you're kind of killing two birds with one stone, right? You're bringing people into your stores, you're getting them to experience your product, and you're giving them the benefit of having either a wearable or a pass, right? Anything else that the NFT can signify. We talked about loyalty as well. So I think that's the approach, I think, that makes a lot of sense for a lot of brands, especially those whose audience does spend a lot of time, in the physical space rather than like fully in the digital. I think that might change in a few years as our habits and how we interact evolves, where digital only might become something that is a legitimate revenue stream. But at this point in time, I think, having a digital twin tied to a physical item is a no-brainer that I think all brands should really think about doing.
Yeah, for that mainstream adoption, when we've done drops where we have physical and digital, it makes sense for people. Yes, you can use your imagination and create fantastical products, but if you want that average fashion consumer, it has to make sense. And where does it make sense? If I buy the physical item and I can now see the digital one and I can explore, that is easy to grasp.
I'd like to add a couple points in regards to having digital twins. I think in addition to just doing it through physical stores, Metaverse is a great place for that. So as you are kind of like having the great side of convenience of e-commerce, plus the immersive, amazing experience of physical world, Metaverse is a perfect scenario for that. And then the other side, I wanted to go back to how we should get into the space and how can brands really find their why. I think it comes from educating yourself as a founder or founding team, and one of the best ways is to join a DAO. So if you don't know what DAO is, it's a decentralized autonomous organization, basically any community that is now decentralized, so there's not a typical hierarchy. And we are using Web3 technologies to just make it more efficient. So the benefit of joining a DAO is that you can actually find a community, find people with similar values and purpose, and then from that you actually dedicate your time and efforts, and you contribute, and you learn, and you network. So throughout this process, you're actually learning the ethos of Web3, and then you can decide what are your whys. And then when you know your whys, then you will be able to communicate that with your audience, with your team, and with your potential partners. And that's when you can have everyone on the same page, and then you will be able to kind of continue this journey with them. And then there is going to be a lot more alignment around this. And then you can collaborate, co-create, like what Marco mentioned. And it's just going to be a lot more amazing because, transparency is one of the benefits of Web3 and blockchain, communication and all of that. So having this path in the past is going to really help you moving forward and continuing getting feedback and engaging with your community and having them being part of your journey. They're no longer just a consumer. They're your users and creators.
It's almost like doing due diligence before you're making that decision. So we talked about loyalty, and I really want to talk a bit more about utility too. Marco.
Oh.
What does utility mean for fashion and NFTs?
Yeah, it's the most difficult question probably now. Everyone wants utility, roadmap, all the stuff together. And now, I don't believe utility is needed at all costs on everything. I believe that if something is beautiful and is enough in general. But of course, for our case, for what we are doing, we strongly believe that we still need the utility because digital fashion, of course, as much as can be beautiful, what we are creating, we need to provide something to the community. And it's happening in different ways. Of course, it's trivial to talk about augmented reality or like downloading the model and people can use it, but it's more connected to the value that we want to give, to offer. And in that sense, of course, we want to be sure that whatever people create is something that is connected to the end goal that is for us is creating an ecosystem where people can co-create, trade, and really make a life with creativity. And for us, it's really radical that we have cases where there were people co-creating with our tool, with our platform, and posting on LinkedIn that they were fashion designers just because they did that. And for me, it's huge because it really means we are not just playing, we want to really radically change the creative economy. And everything that we do, everything that digital fashion should do, should be related to really a kind of try to free creativity in everyone and making identity of users even stronger. If we connect back to physical versus digital, of course, I don't believe that we should have all physical going into digital, because I think most of the physical, yes, is interesting to see on the metaverse, but not so much. It's not even sustainable, and you know how much we are on a sustainability topic, so I'm not going ahead on that.
Actually, I really agree with Marco on the beauty side of things, and this is where I want to challenge both fashion brands and Web3 NFT creators. So on the fashion side, I think it's really important to start bringing the same sensibility and attention to detail, storytelling, ability to connect with your client on an emotional level. This is something that brands do really, really well, right? They pay attention to packaging, what the store looks like. They might have a signature scent when you go into a retail store. I mean, the fashion shows are like all about the experience, the storytelling, from what the invitation looks like, right? It's usually really interesting. Like the Prada one was like, did you see the paper coat with the, the information about the fashion show? So it's the same skills that those brands just need to bring into an NFT program. So really thinking through what is the minting experience, what the experience of discovering what the NFT you got, and really pushing existing designers and creators to, again, apply those skills into creating 3D content, because 3D and digital is a material just like anything else. So you can totally have craftsmanship and savoir-faire applied to it. And then on the Web3 side, I usually push the space to just be more open and to really push the limits of what the technology can do. So how can you kind of have a variety of aesthetics, a variety of mediums that are in the space so that it appeals to a broader range of people with different tastes and actually is very compelling when you look at it. So people are not just thinking, oh my gosh, what's the utility of it? And like, what can I resell it for? But really thinking, oh my God, I own a piece of art. I mean, I'm going to just call out, because I see my partners at Bulgari here. They very recently dropped a high jewelry collection with an NFT digital twin. And if you look at it, it really does convey the beauty of what jewelry could be. And it's a piece that's in motion. There's lots of color. It just looks beautiful. And you want that hanging on your wall. So I think we're going to see a lot more adoption and a lot more opportunity as the space matures and we're able to really create something highly sophisticated and beautiful. We're starting to see that now, but I think we've got room to grow too.
I loved hearing that. And I want us to talk. Yes, Jessica.
Oh, no, I was just going to say that utility is what I started out this whole talk about, is about the actual, I talk to a lot of non-crypto natives, so I like to call it benefits or perks, if you will. But what do you get for being an early supporter, being that super fan? What is the brand doing for you to give back for all of the time and effort that you put into promoting their brand? And what do they do to encourage you to continue to do that? I'm pretty tired of seeing brands say like, okay, we're doing this NFT drop, you're gonna get another NFT, or when we build our metaverse solution, you'll get that shoe in the metaverse. Okay, great. Again, I didn't come to you because I like how you handle tech. I came to you because I like how you design actual physical products, right? I don't think we're there yet to the point where the metaverse is really that great of an experience. We're all here, and this is a way better way to connect with people. And fashion is so much more than the visual component, right? There's a tactile component, there's a weight to it. There's other things that convey quality and give you the experience of owning their products that you just can't get in a digital format right now. I would expect that the utility that brands provide now actually ties in to the physical product. Get you the physical product that you like them for in the first place, or get you discounts, or get you early access, or exclusive shopping events, or things that actually you, as a fan of their company, of their products, want.
I actually disagree with that. So I think, yes, physical is so important, but we shouldn't forget that we spend a lot of our time on digital experiences. So are these digital experiences perfect? Are we looking the way we want on Zoom? Are we expressing our mood and identity perfectly? No. So how can we enhance that? And that's the metaverse. There's nothing like very special about it. It's just the future of internet. It's just a more immersive way of digital experiences we already have. And if we take that, then there is so much more options. There's more versatility. You can wear fire. You can wear waterfall. Like, why should I be limited to this? So if you look at it this way, I think it's a perfect utility.
It wasn't a dig at the metaverse. I know your metaverse is beautiful, for the record. I always tell everyone it's the most beautiful metaverse I've ever experienced, and I've had to test them all.
Thank you.
I'm just saying, fashion's more than that, right? And I want like the actual physical product. I want to be able to go out in the real world, and I like seeing people dress up and what they choose to do to convey their personality and communicate something about themselves. I think we're gonna get to the point where we all live in that world, and then yeah, like by all means, let's go freaking crazy.
We all
with
need
the
a
outfits.
closet in the metaverse.
What's that?
We all need a closet in the metaverse.
Yeah, right?
Let's talk about the metaverse, actually. Now that we're on the subject and we're coming close to an end. What can a brand do to prepare for the metaverse? Nico, do you have thoughts?
Sure. I think it really depends on what your whys are, again. And then when you discover that, then you need to go find a robust tech team, whether you want to build that internally or partner with someone. But it's very important because of the reliability side of things. And then you need to communicate with them what your whys are, what your goals are to accomplish. So that's basically setting the scope of where you're going with that, and what problems you're trying to solve. So it's very important, for example, for a lot of fashion users or consumers, they want to see inclusivity. They want different body shapes and colors to be represented. But now we have no limitation because we are in digital fashion. There is the other part about safety and security. We all know, we have heard a lot of bad stories about designs of environments that haven't been mindfully done. And so it's very important that you pick a team that they actually understand what your community or you care about, and then design for accessibility. We want to have mass adoption. We all understand for NFTs, Web3, it's all going to get better together. We create this. So how can we lower the barriers to entry? Again, think about how your tech team or your partner is solving these problems, lowering the barriers to entry. And then you can basically keep engaging with them and then engage your consumers or users to help creating all of this with you.
Very important points. And Nelly, I know that you had some additional points to add on the metaverse too, correct?
Yeah, I think this is the unsexy answer, but just preparing your organization for this really matters. So one, just start educating everyone in the company, regardless of where the state of the industry is. Make sure everyone has a wallet, has an NFT, has an avatar. Start working with HR on building up talent. Make sure your legal team is prepared for the metaverse in terms of IP protection, and get your e-com ready to support 3D content.
Fantastic. Well, we only have a few more seconds to wrap up, and I just want to thank everyone that came and attended and the panelists. Can we give it up for them?
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much. This was super insightful thoughts. Thank you so much.